Lots going on in the political landscape, and we'll be talking about that. And me and Sasha will be talking about it. Others may be joining us as well, but a lot is definitely taking place. Melania Trump delivered a statement at the White House today denying ties to Epstein and knowledge of his crimes. So, First Lady Melania Trump is denying ties to Jeffrey Epstein and knowledge of his crimes, saying Thursday that the stories are completely false and calling online accusations that she was somehow involved smears about me. The lies linking to me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean spirited attempts to defame my reputation, is what she said. Reading an extraordinary statement at the White House, she denied any association with Epstein and said, my attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success. She also called on Congress to hold a public hearing centered on survivors of Epstein's crimes with a chance to testify before lawmakers and have their stories entered into the congressional record. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, she said. Then and only then will we have the truth. Her out of the blue message came just as her husband, President Donald Trump, and his administration had finally appeared successful in moving beyond the Epstein controversy, which has sent shockwaves throughout the nation's politics for months. And the case has lately been overshadowed by the war in Iran and other major issues, but who knows, this may actually put it back in the forefront and everything along those lines. So I saw that story, so I thought I'd lead off with that and everything like that. But we'll see what goes on in that space. She even came out and said that an email reply that she sent to Maxwell was only a casual correspondence without elaborating. She said my polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trifle or a trifle. So she said she was not friends with Epstein or Maxwell, but was in overlapping social circles in New York and Florida. And she described that email reply as just a casual correspondence. So, what's your thoughts on this? Because it looks like they're trying to duck and dodge some of this stuff, but that's the latest that I saw in that space. But what's your thoughts?
Mark, tell me, do you really think that whatever she says can change lives of American people, move the markets up or down, or price of oil, or anything? All that is nothing but noise, in my opinion. We're wasting our time to discuss that. So,
There's a lot of noise out there and everything like that, but I also know that apparently another woman that's in the Trump camp is apparently upset at him because who knows? Apparently he's at war with Caroline Levitt, his press secretary, and everything like that. So who knows? Maybe she's going to be the next one that gets fired since he's apparently in this whole fired mode. There's even a talk of resignation and everything like that. So apparently there was a moment earlier where she was saying some stuff that was going contrary to what was being said, even about this war with Iran and everything like that. So who knows what's going on? Maybe she'll be the next one that hits the chopping block because apparently she's been saying some stuff that was contrary to what was being said by the White House.
well, I'm surprised actually that he hasn't fired all of his cabinet so far yet, because in his first cadence as president, 4 years, there was no one left. He fired everybody and replaced, and in fact, several times certain positions. So he should have done with her and to all others. He should have fired them and better even to put them in jail if possible. So maybe he's gonna do it anyway, because I don't
Yeah,
see
because
any
apparently
reason.
Donald Trump said that she was doing a terrible job as press secretary. So he said that back on March 31st. So he complained about receiving 93 to 97% negative media conference during the press conference. So even though a lot of people are looking at his numbers, he doesn't believe in those numbers, and he's upset because she's not, I guess, shielding him and everything like that. So I guess he's going like, "Hey, my numbers should be better." But apparently, he's not having any great numbers. So we'll see what goes on in that space because he does. He's got horrible numbers, and I don't think the numbers are going to improve.
Mark, let's go and look at a little bit deeper of what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe anything what's going on Fox TV or any other channels in public life about what's happening in this war against Iran? Anything, even small detail whatsoever? Let's take a story about that second pilot, which was rescued, as they were told. So it was a heroic efforts of the U.S. Army and Donald Trump, and they rescued second pilot. Mark, are you aware that that second pilot who was rescued, he was a colonel of
Right.
U.S. Army. So the first pilot was a general, maybe?
Yeah, general.
Was general, yeah?
Yeah, I
So,
think so.
so you're sending generals and colonels fly this little F-15 over Iran? How is it possible? What's going on?
Yeah, they're doing some crazy stuff. Like even I saw a general that is the general that supposedly killed Osama bin Laden. I was reading an article where he was basically telling Trump to calm down and everything like that because he was basically saying that he was not being very presidential and everything like this. So this is the general that is the one that apparently fired the fatal shot against Osama bin Laden, but he was telling Trump that he needed to take a chill pill.
Mhm. So, Mark, let me ask you, do you believe that the general was somehow hidden somewhere, climbing a mountain of 6,000 feet tall, and for 3 days or whatever, he was hiding somewhere, and finally he was found and rescued by sending 10 or 11 war fighters and helicopters or so on? Please give me a break.
Yep.
I don't believe even 1% of that story. It's a story for a movie, not for a real life.
Yeah, for real life, yeah, because it probably was a private or
It's
somebody else. I was wrong, by the way. It wasn't a general. It was a former U.S. Navy SEAL. But the former U.S. Navy SEAL Robert J. O'Neill, who claims to have fired the shot that killed Osama bin Laden, and has long been a supporter of President Donald Trump, is being critical of the Commander in Chief's recent rhetoric about Iran. So on Tuesday, on an episode of Piers Morgan Uncensored, the host brought up Trump's Truth Social post, and when he addressed in which he addressed Iran, writing, "Open the effing straits, you crazy bastard, till you're being living in hell," and another in which he threatened a whole civilization will die tonight. And Pierce Morgan asked him, "Would you have felt comfortable if you were still serving with the commander in chief posting things like that?" I have to be honest. I went to True Social to see if they were actually posted. O'Neill, who's 49, responded, "I don't think it was presidential. I know that it's very difficult to be around President Trump and tell him something you disagree with. I know the man. I've had dinner at the White House with him, but someone should step up on something like this. The optics are very important, and you really can't say you're going to wipe out an entire civilization," he continued. And O'Neill pointed out that aside from Trump's suggestion that he would target civilian infrastructure, which would potentially be a violation of the Geneva Convention, the former military man said he doesn't think it's proper for Trump to get on social media and say you're going to wipe out an entire civilization like that. You know, he's angry. He's mad at NATO. He's mad at our so-called allies for not helping, and he's yelling at his phone, O'Neill contended. You need to take a deep breath and realize you're the commander in chief of the military. You're the leader of the free world, the most powerful man in the free world. Some things just shouldn't be said, even if you want to. He conceded that he also posted thoughts he later regretted on social media, but he said, "I just think as the top boss of the military, that's inappropriate." So he's basically saying, he's calling out the president, saying that, you know, you don't need to post everything that you think.
By the way, there was very little information about yesterday's meeting in the White House with Rutte from NATO. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump was saying that he is getting sick and tired of this little NATO nations who did not allow him to use their airspace and bases. So therefore, they violated the NATO rules, and therefore they have to get all out of NATO, or US will leave NATO, and there has to be a punishment or so on. Wait a second. It's NATO, it's a North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was conceived in around between 45 and finalized in 49, based on the real threats of the Soviet Union to take over all Europe after Second World War. So if you will take a map, look where is the NATO Transatlantic Association, and where is Iran? It has nothing to do with NATO. So therefore, there were no rules or doctrine or anything NATO that Europeans would violate. So what Trump is saying about NATO didn't allow this or that, it's nothing but lie and misrepresentation.
Yep.
Oh, another story is that, of course, Rutte is, he's completely depends on Trump, his job, everything. So he's ready to leak Trump's ass 24 hours a day. That's a different story. And that's okay. It doesn't bother me at all. But Trump saying that, what do you think Russia, China, what do you think they did when they found what Trump said? This is, it's impossible to really to comment on that story. It's a story about low information electors elected low information president. That's what we have.
That's what we got in the White House and in North America, and particularly in the United States right now, and everything like that. Apparently, J.D. Vance is made a comment that his wife shouldn't do a certain activity. And I've joked on the show that I didn't want to do the activity, even when I was dating somebody that was involved in this activity. But her fans are begging her to escape JD while she can, because apparently they're feeling that this is a controlling thing. Because apparently he was telling some folks on the 8th, which would have been yesterday, that he was trying to compare their marriage to the Iran-U.S. negotiations. So speaking to journalists from Budapest, where he's been out there campaigning for Orban, he said, we're going in the right direction, but it's going to take a little time. The second thing Galba said, which again I found fascinating, we refuse to give up the right to enrichment. However, this is when he seemed to reveal that his wife doesn't have permission to go skydiving and everything like that. So comparing his marriage to the diplomatic ceasefire talks, he added, and I thought to myself, you know what? My wife has the right to skydive, but she doesn't jump out of an airplane, because she and I have an agreement that she's not going to do that, because I don't want my wife jumping out of an airplane. So press conference viewers were quick to point out the way he spoke about Usher and how he appeared to be controlling her and everything like that. So would you let your wife, because you have a wife, would you let her jump out of an airplane if she wanted to go skydiving? Because like I said, I dated a girl that went skydiving, and like I told her when she tried to get me to go skydiving and everything like that, I believe planes are for the purpose of going from point A to point B, not for falling out of. But that's just my opinion. But if other people want to skydive, they're perfectly willing to and everything. But if your wife came up to you and said, I want to go skydiving, would you let her?
Skydiving, well, if I would be paid $100 million, I would think about it for sure. And you're talking about his wife doing some kind of activities. Did you go to yoga classes maybe, or what kind of activities are you talking about here? I really don't understand that at all. And
well, apparently people on social media are saying that they took to social media and they were saying that Vance tells his wife what she can and cannot do, and pretty oppressive to me. Usher blank tweets if you need to be liberated. So they're basically accusing him of controlling his wife. So they were saying, you mean you control your wife just like you want to control other countries? Fumed a second viewer, while a third viewer added, Usher needs to escape now while she can. This a-hole is a minute. So apparently there's some folks that are thinking that he's trying to be controlling. I know people think that Melania is being controlled by Trump and everything like that. So I guess they're thinking that she's being controlled and she doesn't have the right to do what she wants to do. It kind of is what he kind of implied.
Mark, everything what you just told me, plus 75 cents will buy you a cup of coffee in a very cheap coffee shop. That's about it. I cannot comment on that without laughing really all the way. That's really nothing. What really strikes me, the more I think about that movie Picture Perfect rescue of U.S. colonel and the flight, and 11 helicopters and flights went there, and a lot of them were damaged and then destroyed. Well, I think what it all was, it was camouflage of trying for Americans to get to the enriched uranium. What most likely Iran was hiding somewhere in that vicinity. They didn't know exactly where it is, but they thought that maybe, just maybe, they were planning. Look, two pilots. The plane was um, damaged, and they had to rescue. I've looked at some situations, similar situation, where two pilots had to catapult from the airplane. So normally they would land 20, 30 meters away from each other, they 50 maybe. And here they're talking about 10 kilometers from each other. That's a laughing stock. This is absolutely incredible story. Some people who want to believe the
Yeah.
stories, that's fine with me.
Yeah, some people want to believe the story. They want to believe that that's what happened. Just like some people are making a joke about, I mentioned Carolyn Levitt and everything along those lines. And I do think that she's got a second child that's on the way and all along those lines. But I had forgotten, maybe you had remembered, that maybe she even plays into the whole Epstein trial because her husband apparently is like some big time political uh, or business leader who is 30 years older than her. So her husband is 60 while she's 28. So maybe that's part of what is the appeal is for Donald Trump is he likes having this young girl that is his press secretary who has this older husband and everything. That's
I see what you're talking about. Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, I think
maybe, maybe that's what's going on.
you're
Hey,
sure.
Toby, how's everything going with you today? We're talking about the rescue of the colonel and everything like that. And I think Sasha is thinking that it sounds like a effort for a movie that it might not have been based on all that much fact and everything along those lines. And then, of course, we've got Trump threatening to fire Carolyn Levitt and firing other people, but folks, including some folks that were involved in military operations, are telling him to be quiet and to shut up and everything like that. So, what is your thoughts about what's going on? Because as a matter of fact, Joe Rogan, I guess a few weeks ago, said Trump doesn't have much to lose because he's about to die anyway. So there's the folks that are wondering about his age in terms of his things that he'll be around, whether that's because of health issues or whether that's just he'll die because he's coming up on the average life expectancy and everything like that. So what is your thoughts around this notion that Donald Trump is just kind of beyond control?
So we already knew Donald Trump was out of control. We knew that from the start, but people just didn't listen. But you mean the new when you were first talking about the rescue? Are you
Right.
talking about the script for one of the Amazon Prime movies? That kind of script that they wrote for this whole rescue operation, that there was some grandiose thing. The man with a broken leg climbed 50 stories to the top of a mountain where he was dodging bullets and bombs coming at him. And there were people in towns who would not help him. So he had to go at it alone and make milk out of a cactus that he found on the side of a ridge. And then finally got to the top of the mountain and shot off a beacon. And it just so happened a plane saw it. Yeah, that kind of thing that they said.
Yeah, that's the one. It sounds like straight like a movie and everything like that. Because, like you said, he found his managing all this stuff that he just happened to find in a country that he doesn't know. I mean, I still laugh at that commercial. I forget what it's a commercial for, but it's one of the commercials that features athletes and everything like that. And the people are out in our desert, and the guys get ready to eat a berry, and the guy tells them it's a very poisonous berry, and all along those lines. So he happened to get lucky and not run into something that would be poisonous, kind of in the contrary to what goes on in that commercial. And you know the one I'm talking about. I just can't think of it.
I mean, you didn't realize the Colonel studied plants when he was young and remembered his time with his pappy, and that's what saved him as he climbed the one. I mean, I'm not trying to disparage anything from the two individuals that got shot down, and they're servicemen. They're great. They do what they we should respect them. But this whole layering on top of this trying to exaggerate the story to make it sound so grandiose is, I mean, it's what Trump does. It's what this administration does. Oh, it's something that had never been seen before is always the theme. And it's just not real. They got to stop lying. Just tell the truth.
Well, wait a sec. I'm not trying to denigrate the pilots who catapulted once their flight destroyed. But normally, if two people from the same plane, at the same plane, catapulted, they normally land, say, 20, 30, 50, 100 meters from each other, 200 meters, but not 10 kilometers. That's impossible. The story that we have been told that they both catapulted and one was immediately found and another one for 3 days was somewhere hiding 10 kilometers away from where this pilot was found. That's something extremely hard to believe, unless you want to believe anything what you've been told. That's something I found very difficult. And based on this rescue operation, so many planes and helicopters, and they were crashing, and some of them were Americans had to destroy themselves so Iranians wouldn't catch them. My version is they catapulted together. They found both of them, but one they openly said, "Okay, we found that one," and another one they were hiding him somewhere or so on to get a pretense to rescue him and send all these planes and helicopters trying to find enriched uranium. And when they failed and couldn't find, and all those flights and helicopters, a lot of them were destroyed and damaged. So that was really what's happening, in my opinion. But again, I could be wrong.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense and everything. Hey, Jacoby, one of the things I know that, and I mean, I know I've got one. A lot of people, when they get into a certain age, they get one and everything along those lines. But Trump likes to put on this image of being very viral and very much past his age and everything like that. But apparently the Easter egg hunt put his bald spot very much front and center and everything like that. So how is he going to deal with this? Because he can't hide it. I mean, nobody can hide the bald spot. I mean, I know I've got one, even on myself and everything, but I know that I'm not as vain as Trump is and everything like that. So how is he going to deal with this? Because I mean, there was a lot of comments where he was not too happy with his imagery, and he's been going against the press and targeting the press. And I guess he was not too happy with the Easter egg coverage because he was out there with the Easter egg bunny and his 24-year-old younger wife and everything like that. And definitely they were highlighting this receding hairline of his.
Well, I don't even think it was the receding hairline piece. It was the fact that he's talking to little bitty kids about how Joe Biden didn't do this and Joe Biden. The kids are doing an Easter egg hunt. Let the kids have fun. Stop talking about Joe Biden and all this other. You the greatest president, and Joe Biden couldn't do the freaking stock market. Who cares about all that stuff?
They just want to have fun with the Easter eggs. They just want to have fun with the Easter bunny and going out there and getting their Easter eggs. They don't really care about the stock market. A lot of them, like you said, they don't know anything about that and everything like that. So I agree with you. They're not thinking about that in the least bit, but that's all that's on his mind. I'm surprised he didn't tell him that he was going to go bomb Iran during the Easter egg hunt.
Well, I mean, he probably did. It's just, again, that was what the Easter egg, that's where the coverage went. Again, nobody cared about the bald spot or anything. 80-year-old man, his hair's falling out. We all know that's going to happen. And he's putting hair plugs in. Yeah, he's extremely vain. He put makeup on his hand to cover up the dark spots. So all that stuff is there. But the problem is this 80-year-old man sounds senile talking to these, 5, 6-year-olds about how Joe Biden didn't do particular things. Those kids don't know anything about that.
Yeah, they don't know anything about that at all. They're sitting there going like, what the heck is this man talking about? And all in that space. I know we don't always talk about it, but just really quickly, and we'll get ready to wrap up shortly and everything. But what's going on in Canada, other than the fact that your prime minister is another one of the many folks that think that Trump has lost his mind and everything like that? But what is the big news coming out of Canada these days and everything?
The usual stuff. I don't think that anybody is prepared to communicate with Trump. He believes that everybody is against him, the Europe, the Canada, the Japan, the South Korea, and so let's see. I've heard a scenario that he will run away from all European countries, members of NATO, and but then if that's the case, I don't think it's legally possible. But if there would be a scenario like that, he would lose all the U.S. bases in Europe, and that would make even this war with Iran impossible. So he needs some other places for the bases. And I've heard one comment that he would locate his bases in Russia and Hungary and use their territories to fly over and so on. So in this way, he will not need Europe anymore and European countries, NATO and Japan and whoever else. And so he will use Russia and he will locate all his the missiles and the planes in Russia, and from Russia he will fly. I don't know where he's going to fly from Russia to Hungary and from Hungary to Russia. I don't know what is in mind. And maybe by the time that he'll do all that, he will be out of the whole thing.
Yeah, and apparently people are not expecting him to do things that presidents usually do and everything like that. Because apparently on the Jimmy Kimmel show back on Tuesday, the national champion women's team, the UCLA Bruins, were asked if they had heard from him. And it did not appear like they had heard from him and everything like that, because they asked whether they had received a call from the commander-in-chief. The four players present, along with head coach Corey Close, stayed silent for a second, smirking before Kiki Rice, who was one of the stars of the game, said, "We have not." The players then let out a quick laugh at the suggestion. So it doesn't seem like they were expecting him to make a call and everything like that. So I doubt that the team that won in the men's team is expecting a call either and everything like that. So it doesn't sound like the athletes are having much respect for Trump, and they're not expecting him to call. Jacoby, your thoughts around this?
I don't think the athletes care. I mean, in terms of this president, they don't want to go with this president. I mean, who wants to be tied to somebody who's going out there bombing different places to avoid having to release the Epstein files?
Yep.
So I'm not. That's like going to a P. Diddy party. I'm not going to Diddy's party.
You're not going to hang out with Diddy? Not at all. I don't blame you. I'm not trying to hang out with Diddy either. Apparently, Trump is coming under fire during the 2026 Winter Olympics for seemingly disparaging comments he made toward the gold medal winning Team USA women's hockey team after the man also took gold. So, yeah, a lot of these teams are like, we don't want to deal with this man. He's crazy and everything like that. So definitely it looks like he does not have respect for folks that are competing either. I doubt the golfers will want to go see him either, because the golf the Masters is going on now, and whoever wins it, we know it won't be Tiger because Tiger's not competing, but whoever wins it will not be probably rushing to go see him and everything like that. So it'll be interesting to see what. Go ahead.
Trump was probably do similar to what the hockey player.
Well, we'll see about the World Soccer Championship yet, because a lot of European countries are extremely upset about US policies, and that includes the world soccer powers such as Germany and UK and France. And I'm not 100% sure that the tournament will be placed as it was planned, and it could be that it will be hosted by Canada and Mexico alone.
Yeah, that could definitely happen, because I mean, some of the powerhouses in terms of World Cup, he's not friends with, because I know he's said some very disparaging things about Brazil, and even though Brazil has its own kind of strong arm government and everything like that, but he definitely said some disparaging things about them, and there's no doubt that they're a powerhouse, and Mexico is a powerhouse as well. So a lot of these folks, he hasn't said good things about them, so they may not want to come to the U.S. And if, like you said, it might just be Mexico and Canada that wind up hosting it, and they don't really bother with the U.S. But we'll see how that plays out, because it's supposed to be in all three countries.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Sasha's right. Sasha's right. I mean,
that's right.
Because I mean, who want the? If you even look at the tourism from the same countries that are also hosting the World Cup, they're down 17% already with Trump. Well, last I checked, that was last year, is down 17% in tourism, and then it's probably down even more now. So nobody wants to come. It's not that people aren't like when I think it was brought up earlier. Well, he shut down the border. It's not that he shut down the border. Nobody wants to come. Nobody wants to be a part of this. We used to be the beacon that everybody wanted to be a part of. We don't want. Nobody wants to be a part of this now. So
it's a strike of TSA. I don't understand how they will be able to go through so many tourists or coming at the same time to West, all the Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles, and all those large places. So many tourists. How are they going to handle it physically? I don't understand. It's going to be a big mess.
yeah,
Yep.
a huge mess. And again, the federal funding's not going to go through because the places that the tourists are going to want to go are all places that are against Trump. So Trump is not going to help out with federal funding. Those are going to get cut. Then you got ICE that's going to run around and chase anybody brown. So people from South America, people from India, people from all across the globe are going to be on ICE. And who wants to come? Who wants to come to be a part of that? Nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge mess.
It's just a total mess and everything like that. But we did about 30 minutes, and that's what I want to get in for this particular show. We'll have our full hour on World Edition tomorrow. I know we've got Coco coming up at 6 o'clock. We've got some other shows coming up as well on this particular evening. So I'll see you fine gentlemen on tomorrow and everything like that. Like I told you, I'll be doing it from the Cultural Center and everything like that, but I'll still manage to do the show at 10 o'clock. So I'll see you fine gentlemen tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. But right now we're going to wrap everything up.
Thank you. Please don't forget to send me the link, the YouTube for the show. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you very much. Bye bye, Jacoby.
See you, Sasha.
Yeah.
Yeah.